Snautra aure mazda Hashem vahu vahishtem asti Ushtaasti Ushtahamai yatashai vahishtai Hashem Baname ahura mazda. To think a good thought, to speak a good word, to do a good deed is righteousness. Happiness comes to those who live with the consciousness of righteousness. And with that sentiment, ladies and gentlemen, this is Meher Amal Saad and welcome to Bahumata, a program designed to build oneness with the consciousness of righteousness in humanity. The goal is not to grow the plant but to plant the seed for each one of us to blossom with our own love, light, grace, joy and peace. So sit back, relax, and get ready for this very special journey to enlightenment. And as you do, please join me in giving a warm Zartushti welcome to our very own Zartushti neuroscientist from United Kingdom, Dr. Karishma Khoka.
Thank you very much, Baba Meher, and happy Jashan-e-Sadeh to you, your family, and everybody on this call today. Each one of you knows that Bahumata is a very special program. We are very grateful to Mr. Meher Amal Saad, the mentor and facilitator of Bahumata, and to Mr. Yazdi Tatra, who supports us technically and shares the recordings of the treasure trove of knowledge, Zoroastrians.net. Bahumata is a program that shares the knowledge of the Zoroastrian faith and also aims to build oneness and knowledge sharing across the world. With each session of Bahumata, and this is our 62nd session, we aim to share the speaker's own perspective, the way they see the knowledge and interpret it for good action, and then request each one of you to ask your questions with the same good thoughts and good mind.
Karishma, you got muted, Karishma.
Thank you very much. Our first speaker today is Mobidyar Surushpur, and we request you to join us as she prays and leads us in prayer today. Thank you. Mobidyar Paimane, over to you.
به نام اورمزد بخشاینده بخشایشگر مهربان. شمو و ایشتم استی اوشتا استی اوشتا مایی یدشایی و هیشتایی هشه یتا هویریو اتارتو ششاوچی Hacha bengeyosh das domenan koshiyot nanam angeyosh mazdai chashatrem chahurai ai dare gubiu dadat vastare.
Thank you very much, Mobidyar Jan Paimane. Let us now look at Mobidyar Paimane's background as we invite her to give her talk in today's Bahumata session. Today's theme is Truth Shines Bright with Love and Light. There are many people in the Zoroastrian faith and scholars around the world who often tell me there is no mention of truth in the Gathas. And I have found at least 7 different ways of expressing true love and devotion in the Gathas. So today Baba Meher has created this theme, and the references, among others, that our speakers may refer to are Yasna 51 verse 22, 53 verse 5, and Yasna 44 verse 7. They may not share a reference, and that is their prerogative. They may give you interpretations from their knowledge. And then if you have something to say as part of our contributors, please raise your digital hand in the discussion section. Mobadyar Peymane Surushpur was born in Iran and pursued her higher education in computer science, mathematics, and business administration at leading Iranian universities, along with studies in political science. She later immigrated to the United States with her family. Professionally, Mobadyar Surushpur has extensive experience in ERP system development, financial planning, and project management. She has led several major financial software implementations and has held leadership roles in the banking and credit union sectors, including IT project manager, account manager, and controller. Beyond her professional career, Mobadyar Peymane has been deeply committed to the Zoroastrian community. In Iran, Mobadyar Peymane was an active member of the Zoroastrian Student Association and a contributor to the cultural weekly Amordad. In the United States, she has written for Iranian publications in Northern California, focusing on Persian language, education, and the preservation of ancient Iranian traditions. Mobadyar Banu Saheb has served on the board of the Sacramento Zoroastrian Association from January 2023 to December 2024, and currently serves as a Mobadyar, conducting Zoroastrian religious ceremonies in Sacramento. She also leads the Education Committee, working closely with the community to design and facilitate religious and educational programs that promote Zartushti values, strengthen Persian language skills, and foster cultural identity through Dini education among second-generation youth. We have today a very special contribution and representation from our motherland, Iran, and we hope you will join us in sending positive thoughts and prayers of peace and harmony and protection to all those who need it. Over to you, Mobadyar Banu Peymane.
Thank you so much. I'm good. Hello, everyone. It is a great honor for me to be here today at this meeting. I truly appreciate Mr. Meher for giving me the opportunity to be here and share my thoughts about true love and light. In Zoroastrian thought, truth or Asha is not just an abstract concept. It is a living, dynamic force that gives meaning to human life. Yet Asha alone is incomplete. It shines only when joined with wisdom and human compassion. For the Zoroastrian community, truth has never been separate from human and historical responsibility. If today we speak of truth, love, and light, we cannot ignore the shared history that has kept these values alive. One clear example is the historic role of the Parsis of India in supporting Zoroastrians in Iran. After the Arab conquest of Iran, Zoroastrians lived for centuries under difficult conditions, facing economic and social pressures, as well as religious and cultural restrictions. During that same period, the Parsis of India, while preserving their faith and identity, played a life-saving role. through financial and educational support, restoration of fire temples, and preservation of cultural ties. They ensured the survival of Zoroastrians in Iran. For when truth is joined with love, it knows no borders, and light, even from afar, can still illuminate. In recent decades, Iran has faced severe social, economic, and political challenges, causing another wave of Zoroastrian immigration. Despite this, fire temples, cultural events, and community centers still require care and stewardship. Iran is not just a geography, it is the birthplace of the Zoroastrian faith, the land of Ashu Zarathustra, and our ancestors. Even after centuries of transformation, Iranian culture has preserved its living Zoroastrian roots whose value many Iranians are returning to today more than ever before. Many Iranians have expressed concern and opposition regarding government policies, yet public protests have been suppressed. 3 years ago, the movement Women, Life, Freedom arose. Iranian women declared they would no longer accept forced hijab or systematic control over their lives, and many paid the ultimate price. Countless young lives were taken simply for asking to live freely. Today, Iranians are eager to reconnect with their cultural and historical roots, freedom of conscience, wisdom, respect for life, and human dignity. The response, however, was brutal. Just 2 weeks ago, one of the bloodiest crackdowns in recent history unfolded. Thousands and thousands, young and old, were killed, arrested, or permanently injured. Many were blinded by pellet guns. A few young Zoroastrians are also among the wounded and detained, whose only crime was seeking freedom and a human future. The people of Iran face a violent and criminal dictatorship. They have no weapons, only their lives, and urgently need international solidarity and support to bring about change. Iranians and Zoroastrians abroad are raising awareness through demonstrations and engagement with international organizations. With respect and sincerity, I ask the Parsis to give special attention to this critical moment. Given their respected position, moral credibility, and historical influence, the Parsis are uniquely placed to encourage transparency, conscience, and responsibility in international forums. At times, when voices are silenced and suffering is overlooked, such moral influence can help remind nations of their shared human and ethical commitments. In moments like this, even quiet guidance, rooted in wisdom and compassion, can make a meaningful difference. If in the past the Parsis kept the lamp of the Zoroastrian community in Iran alive, through wisdom and human compassion, today that same spirit of responsibility and solidarity is more vital than ever for Zoroastrians living outside Iran. Zoroastrian teachings call us for awareness, empathy, and responsibility. Today, as the voice of the Iranians and Zoroastrians inside the Iran are silenced, it is our duty, living in free countries, to speak out, be their voice, and stand with them by preserving their culture and connections. Every thoughtful and responsible action reflects good thought, good words, and good deeds, bringing light, hope, justice, and freedom to the future of Iran and its people. Truth shines with love and light, not just as a slogan, but as a way of life. I began with Ashambahu, and I conclude with its profound meaning. Happiness is to one who brings happiness to others. Happiness, according to Zoroastrian tradition, is collective. We cannot feel true joy while fellow Zoroastrians face hardship. May we restore shared happiness before it is too late to the Zoroastrians of Iran and all true Iranians. Thank you for giving me your time, your attention, and your compassion, allowing me to be a voice for those who cannot speak freely today. May our thoughts, words, and actions help restore hope, dignity, and light to the land of Ashu Zardosht. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mobadyar Banu Paimane Surushpur. Please, would you show slide 2 again? There were some beautiful references to the theme with meanings from the Gathas of Ashur Zarathustra. Could we see that slide again, please?
Oh, sure.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Let me back to the first one. I think it was, okay.
So may I request you to please take us through each of these 3 verses that you have chosen to focus our attention upon for the Bahumata program and guide us with the meaning of these verses that Ashur Zarathustra Sahib has given to us. With your knowledge, it will be very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Let me adjust. If I can. Sorry, a little bit I messed up with. May we be aligned those who bring renewal to the world, O Ahura Mazda, through good mind and righteous. May those whom you know as worthy of your reward come to us through truth and devotion, so that with wise purpose we may advance life and help bring about the better world. Yasna 53, verse 5. May good rulers and wise leaders arise, those who guide people through truth and good mind, not through violence or deceit. May they rule with righteousness, so that life may advance and the world be renewed through justice and wisdom. Yasna 44, verse 7. This I ask you, O Ahura Mazda, tell me truly, who established the path of the sun and the stars, who causes the moon to wax and wane, who sustains the earth below and the sky above, who keeps the waters and the plants in their courses, who yoked good mind with truth so that wisdom might guide creation.
Thank you very much, Mobadyar Banu Surushpur. That was very kind of you to help us understand the theme of today's Bahumata with reference to the Gathas of Ashur Zarathustra Sahib. So as you can see in Yasna 51, verse 22, it is the Yenge Hatam prayer taken from the Gathas. But this is the verse in the Gathas through which we have love for all humanity. in verse 53, verse 5, we can see that this love and devotion is addressed to all people in governance. And in verse 44, verse 7, this love and devotion in the path of truth and love is addressed to all of nature. So 3 different kinds of love and devotion. Mabadyar Banu, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Our next speaker of today's Bahumata session is a young, dynamic person who is, I would say, a leader of today and tomorrow, Yekta Hormazdiari. So one of the most important principles of Bahumata is not just to conserve and share the knowledge and to honor our priests and elders, but to bridge communication between the elders and the youth so that we can, with good thoughts, build a strong fellowship for world peace and happiness and prosperity. So Yekta Hormazdiari is the daughter of a wonderful leader, Artemis Javanshir. Artemis Jan is a person who looks at the Zoroastrian principles in their meaning, who is just a wonderful person. So I do hope we get to hear from her also today. Sorry. Yekta Hormazdiari is an undergraduate at the University of Michigan School of Kinesiology, studying movement science. She spends her free time coaching U of M's, the University of Michigan's adaptive track and field team, training for triathlons and working in a research lab analyzing the effects of stress on reproduction. She has been active in the Zoroastrian community since her 7th grade, speaking as a representative at various interfaith events through the Gerbord Center. Is that the right pronunciation?
It's Keyboard.
Keyboard Center. Beyond that, Ekta has continued her involvement in various projects, most recently in the first presentation of the Fireside Chat series. Do tell us more about that as well. The Zoroastrian community is a large part of her life, and she is honored to be able to continue playing an active role in her community. Over to you, Yekta, and thank you for being our speaker.
Thank you, Karishma, for the wonderful introduction. When I was back home in LA in December, I was doing some spring cleaning around my room because I've had boxes stacked up since forever, and I've stumbled upon an old Fizana article, which had an entry for an essay contest my sister and I participated in. The topic was if it's ever okay to lie. I remember when my sister and I were writing our entries, there were a few times we were in the living room talking to my mom about it and the different technicalities which were involved. My sister wrote her essay about the good which lies that avoid harm do. She brought an example of when tensions in Mumbai between Hindus and Muslims in 1992 led to 12 bombs being planted in Hindu-targeted areas. However, when the chief minister spoke on the attacks, he had stated that there were 13 attacks, with one attacking a Muslim-majority region, when in reality there were only 12. Though yes, he did lie, and he lied about something significant, this veering from the truth made both sides of the battle victims, limiting their blame on each other and preventing a larger wave of attacks, which would have caused even more damage. This idea of moral discourse is scary. By taking it upon himself to lie about the history, he internally claimed responsibility for the aftermath which may have instilled following it. It is easy to share the truth and allow history to play out how it would otherwise at the hands of other people. It is infinitely difficult to force ourselves into a moral decision, though alone may appear to be wrong. Lying, in the long term, does immense good, sometimes. The chief minister knew the core idea of lying was wrong, but chose to act upon the principle which most aligned with his goal of trying to reduce harm. He confronted a question of if righteousness is about rigid rules or conscious responsibility. Life is not simply about trying our best to live within one specific virtue, as then we lose sight of the things which are truly important, the caveats which would crumble our entire one-sided moral claim. The story taught me that truth and love are not competing values, but rather meant as a guide for one another. The lie in that example was not rooted in selfishness or deception, but rather care. It stands as a reminder that truth, when separated from love, can cause harm. The truth in this example would have brought more harm, and it was only through allowing the truth to be guided by love that a different version was created, which allowed for peace and the reduction of harm. Through the principle of humata, huchta, and havareshta, we are called to live under a principle of righteousness, rather one of purely virtue. We are called to live a life which is influenced and powered by our ability and our desire to think, say, and do good things. When speaking of this core principle, I also want to bring to light a psychological principle, one of cognitive dissonance, which in general is a term for when we internally believe our actions do not line up with our thoughts or core beliefs. All of us have experienced it. It's a feeling somewhere between guilt and anxiety. Cognitive dissonance is more than discomfort. It's a signal of our internal awareness that our thoughts, words, and actions are no longer aligned. When we consistently think one thing, say another, and do a third, we move away from asha and towards inner unrest. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because often we forget the idea of good thoughts, good words, and good deeds are not separate, but rather a continuum. We must be able to think something, know how to speak it, and learn how to bring it to action. It is when we follow this principle that we are truly able to bring peace to ourselves and our interpreted version of righteousness to the world. And to draw more closely to our topic for today, truth and love, it is important to remember we are never told how it is we are meant to walk along the path of righteousness. And that is because there is no one singular way. There is no action which is truly linear, and no good which is placed in only one virtue. When we think about both love and truth, we know both are great, but without a mix and a strike of balance between both, they both lack and even may do harm. Truth without love becomes harsh, rigid, and arrogant, while love without truth loses its strength and becomes dishonest. We are taught to live in the balance of these two, as well as the balance of various virtues. Truth allows love direction, while love gets truth humanity. Without both together, we sacrifice effective relationships, leadership, social discourse, and even our own mental well-being. When we reflect upon the concept of asha, we must remind ourselves that it is only accomplished through an active form of harmony. Nature was not built to stand rigid and on the ends of extremes. Whenever in history you find unwavering opinions, you find conflict and discourse. Instead, it is through approaching issues with compassion and empathy, actively working to integrate various principles and seek out the truth in everyone's opinion, even contradictory ones to our own, that we begin to work through a more peaceful and righteous resolution. The faith of Zoroastrianism has not survived this long because of standing strong in certain ideas, but rather because it calls us to adapt, consider, and actively think. To not sharply categorize anything as right or wrong, or live by any single principle. We are called to form a path of asha, in choosing the path which brings the most good to the world overall. To act in line with our words and to speak in line with our thoughts, not always merely on principle, but rather on purpose. Zarathustra did not give us a checklist for righteousness, because life itself is dynamic. What remains constant is not the action, but the intention, whether it is rooted in truth, guided by love, or oriented towards the good of all. This is why wisdom, rather than rigid obedience, is at the heart of Zoroastrianism. Just as we cannot argue that lying is always bad, we cannot argue that the truth is always good. This is why we are brought to allow it to be guided by the principles of love and care. Zarathustra's message is not that truth must always be spoken or that love must always be gentle, but that every choice must be conscious. We are not asked to live by rules alone, but by wisdom which intertwines various perspectives. We are called to let truth be guided by love and our love be guided by truth, so our thoughts, words, and deeds may become a source of good for the world. Just as the example in Mumbai, though difficult, we are brought to meditate on our decisions and actions, questioning if they are truly working towards good or only stand in what appears to be good principle. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Yekta. What a lot for us to reflect upon. And how important that it's not just one generation that will bear the outcome of the choices of current activities. Through your research, you will be proving, I suppose, even more so, that it is generations to come that suffer the outcomes of epigenetic changes that come through stress and the changes in the nervous and the endocrine system thereof. Very important research. We wish you the very best, Yekta.
Thank you.
Our next presenter is Mr. Mehrdad Banki. Mehrdad Banki is the proud son of Mobed Dr. Shahryar Banki, widely regarded as one of the founders of the Council of Iranian Mobeds called the Kankash-e-Mobedan in North America, as well as the California Zoroastrian Center. Mobed Dr. Shahryar Banki was also the first Iranian Mobed in Southern California. We're very grateful to him for his thoughts and his wisdom beyond time, through which so much good has been achieved. Mehrdad Banki was born in Tehran, in Iran, in the month of Meher in 1960 and comes from a Mobed family on both sides of his lineage. Raised alongside two younger brothers, he attended the Alborz High School in Tehran, one of Iran's most prestigious academic institutions. In 1977, he immigrated to the United States, where he completed high school and later pursued higher education at the University of California, San Diego. Following graduation, he joined Hewlett-Packard as an engineer, where he spent 4 rewarding years gaining industry experience. He later founded his own software company in Colorado Springs, Colorado. After successfully selling the company, Mehrdad returned to California to be closer to his parents. And there he embarked on a new entrepreneurial journey along his sons, blending family, legacy, and business, continuing a life shaped by tradition, innovation, and purpose. Years later, what remains is not certainty, but a fleeting clarity, a blurry glimpse through a small window called enlightenment. Share with us, Mehrdad Jan. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Good day, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Ahura Mazda, Ra'evato, Khwaranghato. In the name of Ahura Mazda, Ra'imande Rahmand. I'm going to take a different spin. I'm going to share a little bit of my own story with everybody. Hope I won't bore anybody. Year is 1994. I had just hired someone in my company who would soon become far more than my employee. He became my brother, my best friend, my mirror. I'm sure you know this person in the community. His name is Freddie Engineer. Freddie saw through me. One day he looked at me in the eye and said something that quietly but permanently changed the course of my life. He said, Mehrdad, you need to go to India with me. I was like, He says, not for business, not for sightseeing, but to visit the fire temples, especially the Iran Shah fire, and to reignite your own fire. At the time, I didn't fully understand what he meant, but something deep inside me knew he was right. In December of 1995, I went. India, wow. So beautiful, so mystical, so ancient. At the very same time, so crowded, so overwhelming, and so painfully poor. It was impossible to look away, impossible not to feel something stirring inside me. Gratitude, guilt, humility, confusion, all at once. Then came Udwada, wow, We stayed there for several days, close to the Iran Shah fire. I attended every fire rekindling prayer I could, morning, evening, even midnight, Ushahen. Silence, chant, flame, that fire. Majestic is not a big enough word. It wasn't just burning, it was alive. Steady, patient, unshaken by centuries of storms, invasions, migrations, and loss. Standing there, I realized something profound. This fire had survived everything, and yet it never asked why. It simply was. Away from that, something else happened on that trip, far away from the fire temple. In Bombay, where I stayed most of the time, I noticed something very curious. Everywhere I went, to markets, streets, taxis, offices, people kept saying the same phrase: what to do, what to do, what to do. It wasn't despair, it wasn't laziness, it wasn't indifference. It was acceptance mixed with curiosity, a genuine question asked without drama. Life happens. Now what to do? That phrase followed me home. It stayed with me when I was alone, stayed with me when I was with my sons, with my family, with my friends. Whenever something unexpected happened or happens, good or bad, I stopped asking, why me? What happened? Instead, I asked one honest question: what to do? And I meant it. Fast forward, the year is 2001. I moved to California to be closer to my parents, my family, my roots, responsibility. It was time. Eventually, I convinced my two sons to join me. That's when the real adventure began. New city, new challenges, new fears, new hopes. And again, the question echoed: what to do, what to do, what to do? Not as panic, but as a compass. Life didn't come with instructions, but it always offered a choice. Fast forward again, 2010. My sons and I started an exciting and, yes, controversial venture together. We believed in it deeply. Some didn't. Some warned us, some doubted us, some walked away. And in every moment of uncertainty, the same question returned: what to do? Do we stop? Do we pivot? Do we push forward? We didn't have all the answers, but we had motion, we had intention, and most importantly, we had each other. The winds of success slowly began to blow, not all at once, not loudly, but steadily. And one of our partners, also a dear friend, kept saying something that at first sounded very simple, maybe childish. He kept saying, we're doing it, over and over and over. And one day it hit me. That statement was the answer to the question I had been asking for decades: what to do? Just do it. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, but sincerely, just like the fire. The Iran Shah fire never rushes, never hesitates, never asks for applause. It simply keeps burning, clean, steady, faithful to its purpose. Fast forward to 2020. My dearest anchor, my stone, my mom had already joined eternity 4 years earlier. Another shift in the universe was happening. This time, things didn't just go differently than expected. It felt like everything was falling apart. And then life reminded me how fragile we are. A freak accident in the ocean, wave surfing, boom, crash. By the grace of Ahura Mazda, I survived. I was not paralyzed. I broke myself in many ways. Thank you, Ahura Mazda. A slow recovery followed. Time, stillness, people I love, people who love me, and most importantly, space to reflect. I had always carried an almost impossible dream. One day, people in all four corners of the world would be praying together at the same time, maybe Rashambuhu and Yatoahu. The resonance, that always makes me so full of joy. So I started an online prayer group, reciting Avesta prayers across the internet, connecting the four corners of the earth. Then came another awakening. Thank you to my dear sister Mubedyar Armita Jahanian Dalal, whom I had known since childhood. She joined the prayer group and invited me to learn Din Dabire, the Avestan alphabet. What followed was nothing short of miraculous. I began reciting the Avesta and the Gathas, reading them in Dabire, and suddenly I heard it. The music, the rhythm, the living vibration of the mantras. Akhjawan, as Ashu Zarathustra says in the Gathas, Achavan Ashavan, the house of songs. My awareness wasn't a lightning bolt. It wasn't a single moment. It was a realization shaped over years. A blurry glimpse through a small window called enlightenment. Pairi jasoi wohu manang ho mai biodo vui ahvo astvatas cho hiat cho manang ho yap to ashot hacho Yoish rapanto daidi khotre This was Yasna 28, verse 28, stanza 2, Gatha 1. Ahnuvat Ga 1.2. Thank you to my dear brother Keku Zartushti. Thank you for all your help and blessings. Thank you for creating this beautiful music and believing in me. And thank you to the engineer family funds by Freddie Engineer to helping me make this a reality. Life will always come with a question, but will rarely give you answers. Our job is not to control the outcome. Our job is to respond with integrity. So now when life throws something unexpected my way every day, when plans collapse or success arrives or fear creeps in, I still ask what to do. And then I remember, stand, breathe, choose, act, act, act. The fire doesn't wait, and neither should we. My dream, my biggest dream, reviving Avesta. We're doing it. Thank you, everybody, for giving me this opportunity. This has been on my heart for a long time. And I'm glad I could spew it out to everybody. God bless everybody.
Thank you, Mehrdad Jan. A very special story. And we have questions from the audience, but we'll wait. It was incredibly interesting that you referenced Yasna 28, verse 2. And Ervat Sahib Katanga actually translates the main line of that verse as, O beneficent Aura Mazda, reveal thyself, and with love do thou grant through truth the riches of the good mind. How very appropriately chosen for this special theme today. Thank you. There will be some differences in the translation based on Farsi. So if you have a translation of this verse that you would like to read out, and this is why it is so important that we learn Farsi, we learn the nuances of the different words. So if you have something you want to share, maybe at the end you could share.
Yeah, maybe at the end, I have my own understanding that I like to share if possible.
If you're ready now, do so now. It's your choice.
No, I'll do it at the end
Okay.
if it's okay. Yeah, thank you.
Very much. In today's very special episode of Bahumata, with the theme Truth Shines Bright with Love and Light, there was a deep requirement for prayers of peace and harmony in the world and strength to bring about more peace and harmony. And who better than Mobit Sahib Zarir Bhandara to take us with a message from him through prayers for peace and harmony. Mobit Sahib Zarir Bhandara is a distinguished and fully ordained Zoroastrian priest whose life is a masterclass in the principle of service before self. With a spiritual career spanning over 53 years of honorary service, Mobit Sahib Bhandara is recognized as a leading authority on the profundity of the Zarathushtri Daina. His academic excellence was cemented early in his career when he received the Best Student Award in advanced priestly training from the Vice Chancellor of the Mumbai University. Beyond the fire temple, Mobit Bhandara embodies the rare synthesis of spiritual erudition and physical discipline. A fifth-degree karate black belt, he brings the focus and mastery of a martial artist to his scholarly pursuits. However, his most profound legacy may be his quiet heroism. Having donated platelets and plasma over 595 times, he has directly saved hundreds of lives. A true polymath of the spirit, Mobit Bhandara remains a humble role model, proving that to serve humanity is the highest form of serving divinity. Zarir Sahib.
Thank you very much, Karishma, for the kind introduction. I would like to share my slides. Is there any way you can allow me to share my slides?
Please go ahead. Yazdi has done it for us.
Thank you. Good day, everyone. Dorud. Make compassion your compass, the living worship. The sun and the soul. Friends, the great poet Hafiz once wrote, I quote, even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, you owe me. Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky. Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, you owe me. Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky. Unquote. What a beautiful way to begin our reflection. We often think of God as a distant judge, but our faith teaches us that God wants us to share his love through us. He wants to make us angels and miracles in the lives of others. But let's be honest, we get so busy. We overlook the people around us. we forget that the perfect and immortal life isn't a destination we reach after death. It is a quality of life we build today by imbibing the nature of the Amesha Spentas. The motivation and the mind. It starts with our motivation. Spentamenio, the Holy Spirit, is the force that aligns our actions with God's will. Because Spentamenio is in charge of human creation, our first duty is to look after the less fortunate. As we pray in the Yatha video, power and sovereignty to those who take care of the needy. But to do good, we must be well. We need a healthy body to carry out a good deed. This is where Vahumana, the good mind, comes in. We use our intelligence to make the right choices for our health and to recognize God's will in every situation. But Vahumana's compassion extends beyond humans. Zarathustra showed us that we have dominion over animals not to inflict pain, but to protect them. When we feed a hungry animal or protect a creature from suffering, we are practicing the good mind in its purest form. Strength and order. Next, we look to Asha Vahishta, the best righteousness. We implement Asha when we lead an orderly, integrity-filled life. We see Asha in the holy fire by revering and not polluting that fire. We are honoring the very law of the universe. To sustain this, we need Kshatriya Vaidya, desirable dominion. This isn't just political power. It is the moral strength and courage to uphold righteousness for the sake of righteousness, as we say in the Ashim Vahu. In the Geti, we serve Kshatriya Vaidya by making peaceful use of metals and resources to promote the welfare of our society. True power is the power to bring about prosperity for all, not just for the few. The power of holy devotion. Now we come to the most vital step, Spenta Armati, our esteemed piety and holy devotion. This female Amshasman is the bridge. After we have the good mind, the truth, and the power, we must invest the feelings of love, compassion, benevolence, and serenity into everything we do. As the Gatha reminds us in Yasna 34.10, Armati is expressed through actions performed out of benevolent thinking. She is the one who tends to the earth. When we refuse to pollute the soil and treat the environment with love, we are practicing Armati. She teaches us unity in diversity by seeing the oneness in all things. We reach Harvatat, perfection, and Ameritat, immortality. This is the secret. Love is the ultimate power. When we fall in love with the feeling of compassion, there is no limit what we can achieve. We are made of love, so we must love as much as we can every single day. The temple of life. Zarathustra introduced a unique idea of worship. We do not just worship God with words, we worship God with his own qualities. We worship God's truth by being truthful. We worship his good thinking by thinking good thoughts. We worship his benevolence by being benevolent. This is a living worship. It happens in the temple of life, in our homes, in the business world, in academia, and in government. We serve the Creator by serving His creations with love. When you treat a colleague with empathy or care for a plant in your garden, you are performing a high ceremony of the soul. Conclusion: the pebble in the pond. In closing, remember this: when you throw a pebble into a pond, you don't know how far the ripples will go. Eventually, they may even encircle you. Let us throw the pebbles of love and kindness into the pond of life today. Show empathy, bring about peace. When those ripples turn to you, they will bring happiness and satisfaction that nothing else can provide. Make compassion your compass, and you will find that you are already living the immortal life. Here, it is worth recalling the words of Sadi of Shiraz, the master of speech of 13th century Iran, whose poetry is so often spoken as a reminder of our shared human responsibility. I quote, "Human beings are members of a whole in creation of one essence and soul. Human beings are members of a whole in creation of one essence and soul. If one member is afflicted with pain, other members uneasy will remain. If one member is afflicted with pain, other members uneasy will remain. If you have no sympathy for human pain, the name of human you cannot retain. If you have no sympathy for human pain, the name of human you cannot retain." Unquote. Now, I'm going to do three short prayers, or three prayers. The first prayer is for the leaders of this world, so that they would do the right, they would take the righteous actions with Kshatravirya, with strength, that they may get strength and confidence to take those righteous actions where needed. Ore Mazdao Ravatung Kariningwato Afrinami Shatriyan Nangupaiti Upramai Upraveretrang Uprang Shatrang Shatrimcha Paiti Astimcha Darigo Shatrim Shatre Darigo Jiti Mushtao Nindravatatem Danumbio Amem Hata Stremorodem Retraganim Mauradatem Vanendim Cho Paratatem Paurus of Krishnam Dabishantam Baiti Jaitim Dushminyavanam Hatrani Vetim Meretnam Auravatnam Dabishantam Afrinami Vavanva Vanat Vaishnavayam Vismem Auravatnim Dabishandam Vismemadvem Dabishandam Aratvayo Manangam Aratvayo Vachangam Aratvayo Shotnam Vavanim Boye Ratvayo Mananga Ratvayo Vachanga Ratvayo Shotna Nizanibuye Vispe Dishmania Vispe Devisha Zazibuye Vangausha Mizne Vangausha Sravahi Urunaja Dariga Havange Afrinami Darigam Java Ushta Java Vanganam Shonam Azangen du Javastavarajam Vahishtamamashonam Roching Quatrem Atizamion Yete Afrinami. Now I will recite Yasna 60, which is the Avastha Tandrosi. Tao Amina Maunin Zamyare Shao Shonam Shnutasha Ashesha Vyadimisha Paiti Zantyasha Uswangai Visizamyao Nashimcha Kshatrimcha Savasham Karinasham Quatrimcha Varigo Fratimatvim Changao Denyao Yatoru Zartushresh Asisnawanga Nachavisan Gaushwingao Asistam Hashem, Asistam Naras Ashono, Jo Sistoro Instagasho, Jamyantra Shono Munguhin Sraus Pendam Rabashanyo, Ashuz Bisaja Chimnao, Jem Fradangao, Danundarao Janga, Havriberi Janga, Istetem Hangam, by Vistate Atram, Prashavakshanyai, Rayam Cha, Kwarinangam Cha, Vaini Namina Maunes, Rosha Sarushtim, Actress anakshtim, rightis araitim, armatim shtaromaitim, arshukadavakshim, mathoktam vachimasadrujam, yathamayami shausbandons, roshan dashan, paitishan manghosh, yasnasha vamasha, vahuyasnim cha vamim cha, huberitim cha, ushtaberitim cha, vantaberitim cha, aundarigaun, quabiniaun, maya vimatanamaunim, quatravan quarino frazahid, Ma quattro vaidishnish, ma quattro vaidyasna presentation, quattro dishemaitia shursha vanguhyan drigam hakma, ashim vaku vishnamastri ushtastri ushtamai hatashain vahishtai ashem, ashim vaku vishnamastri ushtastri ushtamai hatashain vestai ashem, ashim vaku vishnamastri ushtastri ushtamai hatashain vestai ashem. Now, a couple of lines from Afrin Buzurgan in Pazan. Rahzal sal zindagani umar daraz maun, hazar buyegan kushmastras kunan, bakajashring opak sapram mambari vaznen, pushvenihan narasho for zinda zainaut. که ایران داراد نامی براد دشمن زناد دو افروزان و درود بطز میاد یتی آفرینامی اشیم وقو و هیشم آستین وشتا ماین یتشاین وستاین یشم یزان پنامان دیجر شانمان.
Thank you, Zari Sahib, for the prayers for peace and harmony in the world, together with how we can implement the Amisha Spentas to bring about all that is good. Thank you. We have now time for specific questions to our speakers. And I would request each of you to put your digital hands up when you're ready to speak. Until then, we have some questions in the chat. Professor Mehran Seferi says, wonderful talk, Yekta. Professor Mehran, if you're here and you'd like to say something, would you please like to say it yourself?
Yes, well, thanks for the meeting. I was looking forward to today. It's very special, especially that we have 3 Iranians on the panel. Enjoyed every one of them. I have some questions for Mobidyar Sorushpur, but I'll wait after the recording is off because the situation in Iran is very, very sensitive, and I don't want to say anything now. I enjoyed Yekta, and I see good future for her. Very thoughtful thought. And also Mehrdad, I know his family, and I'm sure his father is proud of him. I asked him if he had to do one thing differently, if he goes back and look and say, well, one thing I want to do differently. He has done many good choices. He has done many good moves, and I admire him. But just curious, if you had to do one thing differently, how would you do it?
Hello, Mehran. Good to see you after a long time. Hope all is well. I never look back and regret. And I mean, I'm happy where I am. I have a good life. You know, it might not be the ideal thing I had. I really don't think I would change anything. I would take the same course. If I had the choice, yeah, I'll stay younger for longer.
Thank you for that answer, Mr. Banki. There's a lot of praise for Yekta Hormozdiari. We have people all the way from Singapore, crossing continents, Australia, Singapore, crossing continents, India, England, America, both coasts of America today. So thank you all for being here. Lots of praise for Yekta Hormozdiari. I suppose I'd like to ask you, Yekta, of your work with Zaina so that we can show some love and light to Zaina as a community and the fireside chats that you are going to host or you have hosted. So, would you like to tell us a little bit more about that and how you're sharing in your actions love and light?
Sure. In all honesty, I'm not that involved with Sina. My involvement was mainly with the start of the fireside chats. It was a starting event where me, Mahtab, and Ryan all together did the first set of interviews um, with the former and current president of Fizana. So the purpose of the fireside chats is to have a more disformal form of interviews because we have interviews within the Zoroastrian community. That's what we have the historical archives for, and we've had those interviews going on for a few years now. But the purpose of this was to have a more just open dialogue with leaders and members of our community. So that's what the idea behind the fireside chat was.
Well, we thank you very much for it because it's a living legend you'll bring to us each time. And I'm sure we learn a lot and enjoy the experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
We don't have any further questions in the chat, but I have a question to each of our speakers today. It is Sadeh, a very important festival, just following an important Gambar in the traditions of the Zoroastrian community. So if possible, I'd like each of you to share. There is a wonderful line that I learned from Mobed Soli Dastur some time ago. It is from a verse that says, each one bring a piece of wood, and to each one who brings a piece of wood, may their wishes be granted. Now, this reminds me of, so this is what is said at the time of Jashan-e-Sadeh, because it's a festival of light. It's a festival to represent the importance of fire. But I'm going to ask a different question. How does each one of you celebrate Sadeh? And what sort of piece of wood do you bring to the community or to the divinity? So piece of wood being some offering you bring to celebrate the Ahura Mazda in yourself and to celebrate the Ahura Mazda in everyone. Because we often say in the Atarsh Nyayesh, bring that wood, bring that offering, Vanta Beretincha, with the loving offering. So love is very much part of the celebration of fire, the gratitude to fire, and the celebration of Ahura Mazda and veneration of Ahura Mazda through fire. So question 1, who's ready? How do you celebrate Sadeh? Question 2, what is your offering towards the community, to this big fire? Mabadiyar Paimane, would you like to tell us?
I prefer to answer at the last, but it's okay.
Your preference
for-
is our command. We will ask you last.
Okay, good.
We
Thank
will
you.
ask Yekta because Yekta has been giving us such a lot of nice things to listen to. I'll ask Yekta first.
For my family, Sada was always just a family gathering. We would get together around a meal. I know the Zoroastrian community would also normally host a small celebration, and we would typically attend that. And then that would be our typical just Sada celebration, something within our community and within our families to celebrate because Sada is marking the start prior to Nowruz, so 50 days prior. Um, as for the piece of wood, I'm not sure exactly how to answer that question. I guess something which is valuable that I and other youths hold is a variant perspective. So we've grown up in now what is a very dynamic world. I was speaking to my lab manager about this earlier this week, and she was like, I remember growing up in like the 90s and times there were great, but this is like all you guys have known, like all this hectic chaos going on in the world. So even though it is a little bittersweet there, with it comes this idea that we've been able to experience a lot within our lives and see a lot of perspectives and hold different values than individuals may have had growing up in other times. because naturally that's how the course of history works. So I think the most valuable thing which I and other people around my age would bring is a different sense of perspective and a different way to go forward.
Thank you, Yekta. So as the saying goes, you brought a piece of offering. May all your wishes be fulfilled. In this true spirit of Jashne Sade. Thank you. Mehrdad Banki, you've given us a lot today, but could you tell us a little bit more about your celebrations of Sade and what you think of this idea of each one bring something so that we can have a brighter, more beautiful fire?
Yeah. Now let me go back. I remember back in the days when I moved here when I was 17, but before that in Iran, every year there was a huge celebration at the Kushke Varjavand. Huge bonfire, huge, and just lots of celebration and that fire. And I recall my grandmother, Rawana Chod Mehmet Gohar, used to always say, Jashn Sadeh is the day that heat and warmth comes back to earth. The winter starts dwindling down to spring. So that was a thing that always stuck in mind, that Jashn Sadeh is when the earth gets warmer and the heat comes up. But in terms of what would I bring to the fire, or can I bring to the fire? I believe we need to keep this fire going, whatever piece of wood. We need to spread it to our future generations. It's very important to bridge between us and the ones before us and our future generations, because now we're in a different world. It's a different community, different values, different understandings. It's being able to bring a wood to spread it to our kids, to our grandkids, to our neighbors' kids, to our neighbor who doesn't know anything about Zoroastrian. It's very important to spread, bring a good piece of wood that burns a long time, and also bring a lot of barasmand to keep it spreading.
The word Mehrdad Jan used, barsom, barisman, is that fragrance, that which spreads from the fire to us all. And our very presence in this world can be considered a spiritual barsom, so that we spread our goodness, our love, our asha to everybody. Thank you for that spiritual inclination, Mehrdad Jan.
Thank you.
Finally, Mobedyar Pemani Surushpur, before we come to Zarir Sahib.
Thank you so much. Actually, we celebrated Jashn Sadeh last night, and usually Jashn Sadeh in Sacramento, we included youth and kids. It's the time for them to share whatever they learned in the class dinners. And last night they had a very, very great performances. The kids under the age of 6, they were able to pray Ashanvu without any notes or something. Even the kids with the 3 years old or 4 years old, they prayed Ashanvu, and it was very lovely. The other age, the middle age, they read part of the Shahnameh, that the poems of Shahnameh about Sadeh. And the youth, our youths actually, they perform a play about the story of discovering fire in Shahnameh. You know, Sadeh is very important for us because Sadeh reminds us of the start of civilization, how the industries happened. Because before fire, before discovering the fire, we didn't have any. Human being wasn't able to have iron from the stone. But after that, they take out the iron from the stone, and the industry started. Anyway, Sadeh reminds us progress, and it was uh, very beautiful that yesterday we saw our kids and youth, Zoroastrian kids and youth, they turned on light on the fire, and they were they feel joy and happiness over there, and I'm proud of all of them. And I think the just small things that I bring to the fire is I try to teach our kids, our youth, as you said, to pass this our religions to the next generation. It is very important that they understand it and they can exactly feel it in their own life, not just as a theory. We sometimes play some things in the classes, and we teach via plays in the class in the real life, so they can understand how religion can help them in their own life. So, and I'm really proud of them and enjoy having time with them. And here, I don't know any of our volunteer teachers are here, but we have a very wonderful volunteer teachers that they spend their energy and time for our kids and youth. I really appreciate all of them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Finally, we'll request Mohammad Sahib Zarir, to highlight anything he would like to highlight before we close today's formal part of the session.
To answer your couple of questions that you put out, Karishma. How do we celebrate Sadeh? To celebrate Sadeh, we need to know the importance and history of Sadeh. Sadeh means 100, which is 50 days and 50 nights before the spring starts. Also, it is on this day that King Hushan invented the fire. So we commemorate that. At the same time, we look forward to the spring. We invite the spring. And to do so, like what Paimana rightly said, that we always start with the avasta, the prayers. So we do jashan. Jashan is yasna. Avasta word yasna, in Pahlavi it's jashan. So last night we performed a jashan to celebrate Sadeh, which is normally done with the Karde Adar Yazad, because Adar Yazad is Yazad who looks after the fire, the divinity that looks after the fire. So Adar Yazad, Damman and Srosh. But yesterday, being a Beram Rosh, we also prayed the victory for our people in Madare Vatani Ram, so that they would get freedom. So we did Adar Yazad, Beram Yazad, Damman and Srosh. Why we celebrate and do the yasna, the jashan, for every celebration? Because what we today see as good thoughts, good words, and good deeds in the physical form, what is the blueprint of good thoughts, good words, and good deeds? It's in the spirit. So what is the spirituality of good thoughts, good words, good deeds? Thoughts, thinking about Yazdan. Words, speaking of the benevolent matras, matravani. And deeds, doing the actions, religious actions that would please the Yazdan. Your second question, how do we gather, or what was it? Can you repeat your second
The question is, in Jashan-e-Sadeh, there is a verse that is usually sung, and I don't remember the reference for it. I learned it from Mohammad Sahib Soli Dastur's lesson. Each one bring a piece of wood to the fire. And to those who bring the wood, may each of your blessings be fulfilled, or your wishes be fulfilled. It's like we say in the Atarshnyas, Vanta beretimcha, I bring you this dry, well-secured, inspected piece of wood to the fire. So what is it each of us, as maybe we can be that piece of wood, but what is it we would like to bring to the fire?
So Yes, you're right. It comes from the Atashnyas, and Atashnyas has got 4 paragraphs from Gathas, Aunavad Gatha. In Atashnyas, at one place it says, what is my mobile friend? Mobile friend is not the mobile phone, but we, because we carry fire within us. The spark of Dadaroram is within us. So the stationary fire, the stationary friend is looking at you when you come in front of the holy fire, that what my mobile friend has brought with him or her is like, so physically we think about the wood, the sandalwood or any fragrance wood, but it's not that. What good deeds have you performed and you're coming in front of me, my friend? What good thoughts, good words, and good deeds have you performed outside that you are coming here in front of me? The Atash Patsha is a king. So king is asking you, what did you do outside? And you're coming in front of me to show me your face. That is how I interpret it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mobit Sahib. Zareen Mami has a comment or a question. Yes, Mama Jaru.
When we stand in front of the fire with one mind, with the divine, we are burning all our bad qualities, our sins in that fire. And we come out with the fragrance, the beautiful fragrance of the sandalwood. Like that, we come out with purity of our mind, body, and soul. We have to concentrate on our own self when we stand in front of the fire, to know what we are, to know who we are, how we behave, how we treat others, what are our faults, burn all our faults, and we come out pure. We make up our minds not to repeat those mistakes. We make up our minds to do the right thing by everybody. We make up our minds to be respectful of the priests who are praying for us. They are the ones who take us on the holy path. They are our guardians. They are our helpers. They are our teachers, the gurus there, to whom we owe all our respect, all our obedience, and all our love for the religion through them. That is when we stand before the fire and we pray. Pray with one mind. Don't think of anything else around. People may be talking, people may be praying aloud, people may be doing anything. Don't pay any cognizance to anything else. Just be of one mind. Look at your third eye. Think that you are one with divinity. That is the unition, the yoga. What they say in Sanatana Dharma, yoga. It's not yoga, this is yoga. Yoga means uniting with the divine. Thank you.
Thank you, Mami. Interestingly, the word yuz or yaz has the same meaning. To Yazamaide, as Zarir Sahib has often said, is to resonate, to become one with. And that is the source or the root word for the word yasna also. Correct, Zarir Sahib? Thank you very much. Anything to add?
Mummy just spoke about guru. the word guru. Guru is a Sanskrit word which is made of two words, gu and ru. And from darkness, gu is darkness and ignorance, to ru, that is righteousness and light. So guru, from ignorance to righteousness, to intelligence, to wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you for being our guru. Thank you for being our teacher. Thank you all for teaching us something important today in your own way. Thank you for each of you showing the light where there is darkness. Yes, Meherdad Jan, over to you.
I wanted to, you had asked me about my thoughts on 28.2. If I may say my own interpretation, as I've said over and over, when I pray, when I say repeatedly all the mantras from Din Dabire, from the Avesta, where there's an emphasis on the right pronunciation and the correct vowels, extended and short vowels, the words become different to me. Okay, I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I want to play that one more time, and then I tell you what it all means to me, if that's okay.
I was going to request you to play Zarathustra Sahib's words for us before you explain. Thank you very much for doing so.
Okay. One more time. Yasna 28.2, Ahnovadgah 1.2. Pairi chasoi mohu manangho mai biodo voi ahvo astvatascho hiacho manangho oyapto ashot hacho Yoish rapanto daidi khotre Okay, thank you. And here is how I see it. This is when I recite that to myself. It means, O Mazda Ahura, surround me with all good thoughts. Come to me and bless me in both this body and this time with the best mind, so I may find Ashat Hacha. Rapanto, which I don't know what it means, brings Khwatre, memories, comfort of mind, or Ramesh. That's how I see it. You're muted, Doctor.
I didn't have anything to say or add. It was so moving, and it is the Matravani. In fact, this morning, Mummy was reminding me, don't pray in a rush. The Matravani is very beautiful. Listen to the words, listen to the stotras. They are important.
Yes.
We will ask Zarir Sahib to add any meaning, but all I can add at this point is this is a very beautiful verse because it asks Ahura Mazda to reveal that which will benefit us and others. It is not for me alone, but uses the word maibyo davoe. Maibyo is my ones, like the word mavaite in the Kemna Mazda. Mavaite payum dadat, we say there. Here it says, grant me or bestow the benefit of both the worlds, the corporeal and the spiritual. The astavato is the corporeal and the spiritual, the one of the mananga. Mananga is not just mind. It is that which is not physical, beyond that. But it also asks for rapanto, the joy, And it asks all this with happiness. So it is a form of showing truth with love to reach the good mind. But if Zahir Sahib has anything to add, anybody else has anything to add, please do so.
I'm more comfortable with using the word, excuse me, righteousness than truth. So righteousness in any given situation and any given time, it could be subjective. So doing the righteous thing in that moment is truth, which could be anything, which may not be to what we know as truth. So doing that thing will bring about happiness. And to bring about happiness, how? When we are doing that thing, always the compasses of compassion. So it's not the truth of the love of truth, but instead it's truth of love. So if you focus on truth of love, will bring about harmony and happiness. And if you are very strict on love of truth, that may create a lot of factions also. So if I go with love of truth, then truth of love, I can create happiness and harmony in the world. Thank you. You're muted.
Thank you very much, Mohammed Sahib Zahir. We'll close today's session with your words, but everybody, please stay online and we will be able to talk and share thoughts. That is not recorded. Zahir Sahib has just repeated in a spiritual way what Yekta spoke in her talk, and that has reminded me of Yekta's beautiful and profound talk. Mabadiyar Paimane Surushpul, Herdad Jan, thank you very much for being with us. And thank you, Zahir Sahib, for taking us from darkness to light every week, week on week. Mabadiyar Paimane Surushpur, would you have a prayer to close today's session with, the formal part of today's session?
Yes. I wanted to finish with Hamozurbi, if it is okay with you. Krishnautra Ahura Masa Hamozurbi Hamozure Hamashubi Hamazure Vish Kerfabi Ham Kerfeye Kerfakaran Bi دورش بناه و بناکاران بین هم کرپ بسته کشتیان و نیکان و بهانه 7 کشور زمین بین به سر گذر چی نبد پل بزرگ سبک و خرم و شاد و آسان مان ودوانی یاداد و روز مهور مست اوان فشون اخوان اشوان روشنگ روسمان هما خارمان ابر رسان یادا دارور مست شم و ایشت مستی اوشتاستی اوشتاخمایی یادشایی و ایشتایی Hashem. Thank you.
Hamazor Hama Shobim, as my dear teacher, Mobadan Mobed Sahib Mehervan Firuzgari had explained to me, Hamazori is to be done in action. Hamazori is also to be done in our thoughts and words. But every Anjuman is a Hamazori of all the thoughts coming together to take action for the good of all. So with that thought, we thank all the Anjumans around the world that have prayed for peace and harmony in this difficult time. We thank all those who have celebrated Jashan-e-Sadeh as a representation, yes, but also to thank the fire and be part of the great fire of righteousness. We will stop the recording now, but please stay on to continue the dialogue.